know, Howard, which he doesn't like to be called Howard.
What does he like to be called?
H.
I'm sorry. What? What is he, Madonna? So,
You were in Vegas.
I was in Vegas. I came from Vegas to Miami. I'm so excited here for Thanksgiving week, but we're here to talk about Vegas.
A lot of stuff to cover. Shall we get into it?
A lot of stuff to cover.
What is that, a bra strap?
No, it's part
Oh,
of
the hanger strap.
I gotta cut them off. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Hustle and Schmear. I'm Jason Salstein.
Now, Liz Cohen.
Today's a special episode because Miss Liz has taken her talents to Las Vegas for F1 weekend.
That's right. I just flew in yesterday from the desert where it was loud in the paddock, shiny, 3 a.m. at all times. I didn't see a clock once. And guys named Chad try to sell you energy drinks and VIP access to Diplo all in one breath.
So grab your poker chips and start your engines because
We're talking Vegas, F1, gambling, shopping, partying, and so much more.
welcome to Viva Las...
Schmegas!
We'll play with that.
Back from Vegas, they're the perfect amount of time because I flew in, Thursday night and I left Sunday morning, which is kind of a perfect amount. It's just a taste. You know, you dabble in and then you go.
You went for F1 weekend. This wasn't just the girls' trip to Vegas. You were going for F1, which, by the way,
F1.
tell everybody what the F1 is. Because according to me, it is race cars in cool locations, going around circles, and spending a lot of money.
Honestly, you nailed it. We don't even have to say anything else. It's Formula One. I got into it. I will say the Netflix show, Drive to Survive, really gets you into it because you don't realize all of like the politics and the challenges in doing this. Like you understand the lead up and the work that needs to go into making this happen.
One is like the NFL, the NBA of car racing international.
So there's 10 teams, 2 drivers per team, then they have backup drivers. This is the best of the best. These drivers are intense. And
This
you
is
have
Lewis
to have,
Hamilton, right? This is
Lewis Hamilton's the big one. Obviously Max Verstappen. We've got the newer ones, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri. Those are the McLaren boys. On Mercedes, you have George Russell and Kim Antonelli.
The story about F1 is I used to consult for Bernie Ecclestone's daughter Petra back in LA when she was designing a handbag line. So that's my F1 situation.
How does that relate to F1?
Bernie was the CEO for years. So was it more race, more rave? I saw Beyonce was there with her Ferrari outfit with Jay-Z.
I know.
I mean, people were there.
People were there. It's funny because I have been getting into it. I subscribe to F1 TV. You get all of the access. I watch all of the races. It's all on my calendar. I know when they're coming up. Let me just back up because my first one, I went with the same people I went with.
I saw you with the VIP passes.
I didn't know our passes were going to be that great. Like to do the pit tour, to be in the paddock, like it was a vibe, I'm not gonna lie. They served wine, champagne, and caviar. I wonder how people who have been doing this for a long time feel about it because clearly it has now become like Hollywood vibes with it. Everyone's sassed, the Birkins, the Kellys, it's all out.
This is equivalent to being, see and be seen, the Super Bowl. Vegas is obviously an important city for both of us. It's where my parents met. It's the first place that I went to party with my friends after I came out. When did you start going to Vegas? When you were a kid? When you were 18, 21? It's always hard to be in Vegas when you're not 21.
I grew up going to casinos. We went to Atlantic City. We went to Vegas. My dad's family, my grandma lived in Vegas. It wasn't a big deal when I turned 21. My grandma, who I'm named after, was a gambler. She lived in Vegas towards the end of her life. I specifically remember we had to go pick her up. Was it from MGM Grand or was it from Luxor? She was in the wheelchair at that point at the craps table. Oh, they knew her. She would roll up. They knew her. I'm sure she was tipping left, right, and center. This is in my blood, Jason. I don't know about you.
Same with me. So my dad moved to Vegas when he was like 14 because he had asthma. He went out to the desert to be with my Aunt Faye, his mother's sister. It was dry out there.
Wow.
Probably went out there because he was a troublemaker. My grandparents couldn't deal with him. He went there. He went to UNLV. He became a craps dealer, and he met my mother at this Aladdin Hotel.
Was that where they met, the Aladdin?
That's right. My mom would move the chips from the vault to the floor. My dad was a craps dealer, and my uncle was a blackjack dealer. But I would always go to Vegas. David lived out in Vegas after college for 10 years. We were partying and going out. But yeah, Vegas has always been a place where I like to go, probably for 3 days max. I mean,
Yeah.
my partying days are over, but it's still a great place to catch a show, to
Yeah.
eat, to be at the hotels, to
So you
really
do not have
relax.
to party at all. I know everyone thinks it's a party, but I did spa at the Bellagio. You do shows. The food is excellent. You don't have to go out till 4 in the morning and God knows what you're doing. You could do it very differently.
What's the hotel that you love?
Ooh.
Where did you stay?
My favorite probably is still the Bellagio, if I'm being honest. Like,
Wow.
it's a classic. It's got the fountains. It's very Ocean's 11. You're there for Chinese New Year, they have decorations. You're there for Christmas, the holidays, you have decorations. It's a classic. And here's what I like about it. It's bright. It's well lit. Because the Cosmo, which is
Oh, no, it's too dark there.
so dark in there, and it's like too
Like you're at
much.
a nightclub. Not for me either.
Not for me. They've got good food there.
Right now, I love the Wynn. I prefer the Wynn over Encore.
Yeah.
I like being in the main part.
Okay, rooms at the Palazzo. They're all suites. I like the Palazzo. It's attached to the Venetian. Another good place, I don't know if they have it anymore, but the MGM had a lazy river pool, which as a kid, I mean, I was in there morning, noon, and night. Like, and I went by myself. Like, I had a little like wristband. I was allowed to go by myself. Anyway, I love it there. I'm so glad you like it.
Everybody had a bachelor party there. Brett had a bachelor party there. David had a bachelor party there. My brother had a bachelor party there. Went to
What's going
show.
on with the back? I want to know. Maybe you can't share everything.
I cannot share anything.
No.
All right, so we have a special guest actually today coming on.
Yeah.
I know him pretty well. Should we bring him
Yeah.
on? Welcome back to Hustle Schmear special episode Viva Las Schmegas. We got the one and only Howard Salstein, my dad. Dad, question: how would you like to be referred? H-man, Howie, H.
My friends,
Yeah.
all of my friends, are it's either H or Howie.
Howie. Okay.
No one calls me Howard except the immediate family. I don't like it. I never did.
Yeah.
73 years, I never liked Howard. And I've always been called H or Howie.
You're from New York. When and how did you
Originally from New York, yes.
And when and how did you get to Las Vegas?
When I was very young, I had asthma, bad asthma, and I couldn't live in New York. I had so many different allergies in the air and everything. The doctors recommended a dry climate for 4 seasons. Well, it just so happened that my mother's sister, Aunt Faye, Uncle Murray, were in Las Vegas. They were in Las Vegas since 1947. That was a dry climate, so I went out there back and forth. I'd spend the summer there. I'd spend a winter there. I went to school there. I went to Paradise Elementary School. I lived with my aunt, and then my mom would come in. I went to K.O. Knutson Junior High in Vegas.
Yes.
My brother and I both graduated high school in Las Vegas. We had an apartment above my aunt, my brother, myself, and my cousin Evelyn.
You keep hitting the tables because I know you're excited.
Let me just tell you this, Howie. He's got a lot of rules and regulations, and you just have to like breathe through it. And
Oh my God, I don't know how you do it. I lived most of my childhood in Vegas. When I grew up there in the 60s, when the Beatles came out and I was a kid, I remember getting a Beatle haircut. It was very fast paced. It was not great for families because usually both parents worked. One would work a day shift, one would work a graveyard shift. The supervising of a family was a little out there, because everybody was working. If they're working graveyard during the day, they'd be sleeping. Used to put aluminum foil on the windows so that you could sleep during the day. Then you'd first go to work at 11, 12 o'clock at night. This was a 24-hour town. It was very fast-paced.
And so kids weren't really being supervised in the same
Right,
way.
the supervision wasn't the greatest. The experimentation with a lot of stuff, we grew up pretty fast.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you walked into a casino?
The first time I walked into a casino as a kid, I was at the Dunes Hotel because my father used to come to the Dunes through the junkets. Julie Weintraub, Big Julie, used to run the junkets. My mother and him went to high school together at Lincoln High in New York. He used to run the junkets, and he'd come out and visit us. So I may be 8, 9, 10 years old. I walked into the casino.
What's the
And junkets would be where they'd bring players to the casino.
Oh. Like,
And
so
play.
to bring big players to play at certain casinos and do like
Exactly. This is back in the days where the end of the strip was the Hacienda Hotel.
Okay.
Now the end of the strip is, after Pahrump and everything.
Right.
There's like no desert. It's all
Hello,
built.
Cat Ranch. What was it in Pahrump?
Oh, yeah,
Dennis,
yeah,
the
yeah. The
bunny.
cat house, the
Cat
bunny
house.
ranch.
Cat house, right, the cat house. I broke in at the Fremont Hotel downtown.
Okay.
Well, originally I was going to try to be a doctor, believe it or not. I was working for my father's friend, Dr. Paul Glassman. His nickname was the Croaker. I used to work in his office and he'd let me do everything. He would introduce me as Howard Salstein. He's doing his externship. I had a lab coat and everything. And I loved the field. I to this day, I still love the field. I guess my likes and dislikes, my choices, God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So I had an in to go to Des Moines, Iowa's osteopathic medical school. I took the summer off. It was, I think, 1973. I turned 21, and my brother was already dealing blackjack out there. Back then, he was at the Four Queens. My cousin Glenn, who had all the juice, because back then your job was
What's the juice out there?
You have like,
connection.
yeah,
It's connection. It's your uncle, your father, your cousin, the
yeah.
guy who was in the job, knew your family, so you got your job. It wasn't how good you were as a dealer, it was all who you knew. That's, opened the doors and everything. And my cousin at the time was dealing baccarat at the Sands Hotel, and they were making big money. This was back before the IRS was even in there. So my uncle Murray knew me quite well. He knew that if I went forward and became a doctor, it would not have been good for me because of my personality. Who knows? I could have been Nurse Jackie, but Dr. Howie. Well, he said, "You're going to be out here for the summer. You're taking the summer off." He says, "Well, why don't you learn a trade?" I said, "You want me to learn how to deal blackjack?" He says, "No. The day of the male blackjack dealer is over. They want women blackjack dealers. But learn how to deal craps. If you can learn how to deal craps, there's tens of thousands of people that love to play the game. There's only a few hundred people that can actually deal the game back then." So, long story short, and 7+ years later,
That's so interesting though, because normally, like if you were on the path to go be a doctor, you would think your family would be like, no, do that. And so it's interesting
well, I had a hard time with my organic chemistry, which I had to take twice. There was a lot of turmoil. And,
yeah.
and at the time, my eyes got very big because my cousin in '73 was making over $2,000 a week in cash.
Wow.
In cash. At that time, he lived on Las Vegas Country Club, which
Wow.
was like there was the Desert
Big
Inn
bucks.
Golf Course, the
Yeah.
Sierra Golf Course, and Las Vegas
Mhm.
Country Club. He was doing really well. All my friends that I grew up with were dealing and making good money,
Yeah.
big money back in those days.
You're 21. It's like,
What do? You pack your bag? I mean, Uncle A picks you up and takes you to the casino school? What happened?
No, I went and applied for a sheriff's card because anybody that worked in Vegas had to get a sheriff's card. But back in the early '70s, it didn't matter if you had a felony charge or, the wise guys ran Vegas still. But it was changing because Howard Hughes came in and bought the Desert Inn, and that was Suma Corporation. If you ever watched the movie Casino, it's pretty close to what was going on in the changes of Vegas. So I went in downtown. I remember going and getting fingerprinted and getting my sheriff's card. And I invested, I think maybe it was $150 to go to a dealer school. It was the Jeff Raps Dealer School up on top of the Fremont Hotel. They had a dealer school there. And with that, you got a $15 a day job as a shill. A shill is somebody that goes to the table and plays with dollars and shills up a game. Because a lot of people, when they go into a casino, don't want to go heads up against the dealer. They want to see other people
oh,
at
so
the
you're like
table.
a buffer. You're a buffer at the table to get people.
It's a buffer, yeah. As soon as two people came, I'd get up, go to the next dead table. We'd play at $1 at a time, and people would come and go there. So I was getting $15 a day doing that and learning how to deal craps. That's how it all started at the Fremont Hotel. One of my best friends, Mark Bayless, who actually was a judge in Vegas, and now he's retired, but his father, Al, was the casino manager at the Fremont Hotel. So from being a shill, learning how to deal craps. Craps is not like blackjack. Blackjack, you learn how to shuffle. Craps is very difficult.
Yeah.
Yes. It takes a good 6.5 months to a year to build up dexterity in your right hand and left hand because it's dexterity of chips
Right.
and then dealing to multiple players with multiple odds and multiple
Like,
bets.
remember, I find it, first of all, I don't know a lot about craps, but like remembering how to calculate the payout and what bet
Well,
gets
yeah, it's the hardest game to deal.
Yeah.
It takes time to learn how to deal. So you break in what they call break in downtown, and you deal to, lower denomination of play. And then if you're lucky, you get a job on the Strip. My first job on the Strip was at the MGM Hotel, the original MGM.
Ooh.
Yes, that's now Bally's. You would know as
Yeah,
Bally's.
Bally's, okay.
And then they had the fire. I didn't last long. The guy that got me the job got fired, I think, 2 weeks in. And once he got fired, well, guess what? Anybody he got a job for,
They
we
weren't.
got fired.
Oh, that's terrible.
I have multiple stories, some that I can say, some that I can't.
What was the big
MGM was my first big job.
what was the big hotel at the time?
Best jobs for dealers was the Desert Inn, the
Okay.
Sands,
The Sand.
Caesars.
Okay, got it.
That was the older, smaller hotels. You know, what goes on in Vegas,
Yeah,
back in those days, stayed in Vegas.
well, exactly. And it actually stayed in
And there
Vegas.
were no cameras allowed in the
Right?
casinos or
That's a
anything.
really good point because it was before the iPhone and
You have to remember, Vegas was the adult playground. It's not like today where every neighborhood you got a casino. People would go for business,
right.
and then some people, it was infidelity,
Well, they
girlfriend,
called it Sin
boyfriend.
City.
It was Sin City.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted somebody where they could take a picture, and the casinos were very on top of that. I've seen that multiple times back in the day where they would want to take pictures of the casino, people walking in. Back in my day, in the 60s and 70s, you'd walk in and you were in Disney World,
Yeah.
especially for adults, with the gaming, with the women, and with the cocktail waitresses, which,
Yeah.
by the way, were probably the cocktail waitress in a crap pit or a car runner, Sands, Caesars, were one of the top jobs. A maitre d' at the Sands, they were making
And is
a
it
couple
all
$100,000.
because of what? Tips and
Tips,
stuff like that?
tips, yeah,
Tips.
tips. It was all grease.
It was all
Everything was about grease.
yeah.
It's, you knew this one, you got the table. If you were a big player, you in front.
Do you miss those days? Because I feel like Vegas.
No, I go to I don't miss those days at all.
No.
I miss dealing. I miss the action. There's nothing more exciting in a casino when the dice are out of line. Jack is there's not a whole lot of excitement. You only have 7 players, only 2 bets of a 3-2 payoff and a 2-1 payoff. Oh, actually, they used a 6-5, which is even worse for 20. But craps,
But what is it? What do you
and
mean when the dice are out of line?
when okay, if you know craps, you have the layout, the pass line, and then you have numbers. They call it what the come out roll. Somebody picks up the dice, they shoot the dice. 7-11 on the first roll is a winner. Then you would get what you'd call the point. Let's say the number was 4. So now the 4 came out. Now they put money in the pass line was paid even money. The money that they put behind the line, that was with the odds. Now, back in our day, we could not educate a player on how to play the game.
Oh,
Like today they
really?
do. Because
The
back
only
in
way I
that
do it.
day, if we were teaching a player how to play, they thought we were working with them. Wasn't a healthy thing.
Got it.
But then we had a lot of bosses that were ex-dealers that made their money. Now, the bosses were getting paid maybe 150, 200, 250 a day, but they were getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. Most of these guys were gamblers. They needed that fresh cash every day. So there were bosses that would let us educate the player. And if the player made money, then we had a chance to make money from tips or giving service. In craps, if you ever been at a crap table, they have a saying, money plays where it lays. Now, if the dice are out of line and people are screaming now, instead of 5 players, there may be 15 players on my end. But now I've nurtured you on how to play the game, and I pay the bet, and I'm handing you the bet. Now I'm actually playing your money. I'm handling your money. And when it comes time, and I say, hey, put a chip next to you. What's that for? That's for me. Now, some people are having fun. They got it. Some people would say, what? Those are the loudest words in a casino. What? Oh, yeah. You get
What
fired
was
for hustling a
what was
player.
the wildest or most unforgettable moment you ever had at the craps table?
I had a few. One of the funniest ones was I was working at the Fremont. We rotated shifts. You'd work a month or 2 months on the day shift and swing shift and graveyard. I was working graveyard. It was like 5 in the morning. We were at a dead table. Then a woman walked on one end, and then this guy with a heavy coat. It was in February or March. It was cold. He walked in, and he wanted to shoot the dice. And I was on the stick. The stick man is the guy, he's the barker. Yo, 11 a winner, yo, 11. And we had a rake and we would push the dice. Now, back in the days, in the 60s and 70s, people would go on vacation and they'd go into all hotels. And what would they grab? The first thing they would grab, memorabilia, what would it be? Matches. A long story short, the guy wanted to shoot the dice, and we really didn't want to deal. We already made our tip money. So I'm on the stick, and I'm making the guy reach for the dice. You know, the crap table is a big table. And so I'm making him reach for the dice and shoot the dice, and now he's reaching and reaching. And all of a sudden, we start to see smoke come out the back of his jacket and everything. Well, what happened was, from all the matches that he had collected from all the different hotels and him reaching over for the dice, his jacket literally caught on fire. And the foreman comes over, and the guy's dancing around, and he says, "What's the matter? Tell him to shoot the dice." I said, "You tell him, his jacket's on fire." And his jacket literally caught on fire. And as he's taking the jacket off, the woman that was playing at the end, she was betting $2 on the don't pass, and her husband was on the other side, and she screams, "Harry, Harry, come over here. This is going to be a hot hand." It's a pretty funny time, man. I had one guy have a heart attack on me shooting the dice. The boss got pissed because tell him to shoot the dice. He's laying there. Paramedics are working on him. I don't care. Get him the fuck up and tell him to shoot. And this is with players around because back then they didn't care, you know. Yeah. On the crap table, they want a lot of rolls. The more rolls, the more sevens. Okay. So they, you know, they don't want to stall.
Want to keep the action going, in other words.
Oh, well, they wanted the dice in the air. Move the dice, more sevens. But I couldn't give the guy the dice because he died right there. He was 2 people over. He had a heart attack.
He died?
Yeah, he died. That was at the Aladdin Hotel.
Oh my God, that's
How
terrible.
about another lighthearted story?
No, yeah, right. But that's a true story. You can't make that up.
Yeah,
I could tell you another funny story because
Yeah.
all these bosses that I worked for were very superstitious.
Okay.
I was in between jobs, and instead of collecting unemployment, I worked at a place right behind the Tropicana Hotel called the 20th Century.
Okay.
The casino manager there, his name was Joe Unrod. He used to run with my uncle, deal craps, and he dealt in Cuba, he dealt in backall games and everything. Well, his nickname was Mushy. He was never without chewing on a cigar. Very superstitious man. Very superstitious. So one day, it was just, you know, all you do when you're on the stick is call the game. Yo, 11 a winner, winner 11, 12, 12, 4, winner 4, winner 4. So he nicknamed me Caruso. So they had what they call up and backs. They used to bus in people and from California, Arizona, Utah, bring them in. They would give them X amount of money to start playing the slot machines and play. And they would rate players. This is when they started to rate players and give out comps. Free show, free meal. So this one guy comes to the table and bets a $500 11. And I call, yo, 11 a winner. Well, that's $750 payoff. Excuse me, $7,500 payoff. And he bet it again. And I called it again. Oh, and he put $2,000 on the line, and I called 7 a winner. The next thing I know, I have the shill tapping me out. And I said, oh, no, here I go. I'm going to get fired again. He said, Mr. Unrot wants to see you. That was the casino manager. Now, I knew my uncle was friendly with him, but these guys, they're only interested in profit. So he says, hey, Caruso, you're a little hot today, aren't you? And he puts his arm around me. I says, this is a boss, a casino manager. He says, come with me. That's another thing I didn't want to hear. He walks me through the casino. We go through the restaurant into the kitchen. And he asks the chef, you got ice cream? It's a true story. He says, kid, what kind of ice cream? I like cherry vanilla, I like chocolate, and I like strawberry. He asks the chef, you have that? He says, sure, Mr. Unrod. He says, give me 2 scoops of each. Okay. Gives me this big bowl of ice cream. He says, sit over here. Eat all of it. When you're done, and when you're done, you come see me. Never had this happen to me. It's to cool me off. That was the reason. I finally, I ate it all where, you know how you eat ice cream?
Yeah, like a brain.
Goes to your head? Yeah. Right. So I got through that, and now I go knock on the casino manager's door, open the door, and I see 2 walls full of cameras and everything, and he comes out. He says, you eat all that ice cream, kid? I says, yes. He says, you eat it all? I said, everything. It says, okay, go back on the stick over on table 3. So the guy that got all that money from me, there's my songbird, he screams, and he runs over. Give me a $500 11, 2,000 on the line. Yo, I just called the top of the dice. The guy shot it. He
Oh,
won the 2000 plus 7,500. With that, I see a cigar go flying across the track. He threw the cigar at me and then went back in and closed the door. I didn't get fired from there, though.
it's gonna make you bathe in ice cream.
Oh, you got fired for being unlucky. You got fired. Oh, yeah, back then, they fire your ass.
Wow.
Today, they don't fire you because of unemployment.
Right.
Back then, you were gone. If you didn't have good juice strong enough, you were gone.
What's the one piece of advice for someone walking into a casino today?
Oh,
Well, so the one thing I would say to somebody on the first slots is go near the casino cage, go near the hotel elevators, go near the entranceways.
like
They
where
put
it's full.
because they put the liberal slots. Maybe they're not the bigger payoff slots. You want to hear the bells go off. See,
Right.
now back in my day, it was still pull the arm and the sirens would go off.
It's
Now it's punch a ticket and it's
not as fun now. You could
no,
still
it's not. They took all the fun out
pull
of
it
it.
on some of them,
Computer.
but
Right. But they still position the slot machines.
yeah,
What's the
yeah.
biggest payout you've ever seen?
Well, I was part of one of the biggest hands I've ever seen, and that was a hour and 20-minute hand. Meaning the woman shot the dice, winner 11, winner 7, 4, winner 4, 6, winner 6. I do 20 minutes on the. I started with her. I do 20 minutes on the stick, and now get tapped after 20 minutes. 4 men work the crap table. So 3 guys worked the table, 1 guy was off for 20 minutes, rotated. 20 minutes on the stick, then you go around the table and deal the game for 40 minutes and then go on a break. So I get off. The woman started for 20 minutes with me, and new stick man came in. He said, "Where's the shooter?" 3 to the right. Same woman. Whoa. By this time, the table was like 8 deep. You couldn't get to the table. All the bosses were there, and it was crazy. I mean, every number is the screaming, and you could hardly hear. And what was even crazier was we were making so much money, and the casino hated that because once a dealer locked up that money, they never got any action on it. If a player got it, they figured they'd get the money back, but we were making money. Long story short, I did 40 minutes back on the base. She still had the dice. Okay, that was an hour. I took the 20-minute break. Go back on it. Now, the worst thing for a stickman to do is come in late on the table because if the dice are out of line, usually a new stickman comes in and calls a 7 out. It's just one of those things. It happens. Like if the dice goes off the table, your next roll normally is a 7. Anybody that played craps can relate to that. So I go and now I finally get through. And now 2 minutes it took me to get through all the people.
Right.
And I got some dead stares, but I couldn't. They knew I couldn't get through. I asked the shoe, "Who's the stick man? Who's the shooter?" He said, "Same woman, still got the dice," and his pockets were full. And I knew we were making a big score. We made around $5,000 a piece that night. She had 3 rolls with me, and then it was a 7 out.
How
So
much
what'd she
money do you
cash
think
out?
she took? Yeah.
The shooter didn't make a lot of money. The house was lucky. They didn't have a lot of big players that went to the limit. So if they lost all in total for an hour and 20 minutes, I think maybe they lost maybe 200,000 total. But they lost to us.
Now that you're a consumer and a customer and a gambler and go to Vegas as a vacation, how do you like Vegas? What's your favorite part about Vegas? Tell us about how you go to Vegas now and look at it.
When I go to Vegas now, I stay away from the crap table.
Oh, you do.
I do because they have a saying in Vegas, the more you know, the worse it is.
Oh, interesting.
So if I went with X amount of dollars, I was subject to lose. If I went to the crap table, I could lose all that in one setting. Where if I went to the blackjack table, I could, limit myself and play leisurely.
Right.
But a day for me in Vegas would be, I like going to the Wynn. I used to go to all the different hotels, but I love the Wynn. Go to the Wynn, get a cabana during the day, relax, and then have dinner and then play a little. And that's how I would do it, but I'd be playing blackjack.
So you love the win. What do you love about the win?
I like the way they treated me. I like the ambiance of the Wynn. All about it. I don't like all these resorts. You asked me the change. What was the change from the 60s, 70s to now?
Yeah.
Now they're so big. They're too big. There's no, "Hey, Mr. S, how you doing?" You have a number, a card, and they clock you from the minute you're in to the minute you're out, what you spent, how long you spent at the table, what your denomination of bets were, and all the above. It became very corporate, just like you saw in the movie Casino. And I worked for that guy, Lefty
Who?
Rosenthal. Oh, they were the
Really?
worst. It was very true to the story. He was a MF. if you were in the casino.
Yeah.
Yeah. He used to dress like that. His
Mm.
hair, wear his hair in a bird's nest. You know, back then it was all wise guys were involved, you know.
And you love going to shows and to going to
I
concerts.
enjoy the shows. I enjoy the shows. I can take Vegas for 3, 4 nights maximum,
Yeah.
you know, and I enjoy actually going in the summer. I don't like the cold. And Vegas gets very cold. That's how I enjoy it. I like getting the cabana. I like relaxing, walk around, we go shop around. I mean,
The shopping is great.
yeah, you get window shop depending on how you do it. My last trip was a very good trip to Vegas. As a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I caught it in the last 20 minutes on a blackjack table.
I said
Ooh.
before that you like to go with the knowledge that whatever you think you're gonna take to lose and still have a good time.
Yeah, you can't go to Vegas and say, I got to win this, I got to do that. When you go to Vegas or any casino, the islands or anywhere, when you walk into a casino, this is money I got, this is my party money.
Right.
This is not going to change my lifestyle. I'm not looking to make my electric, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
You know, because many people come to Vegas a millionaire and go out a pauper.
Yeah.
And even to this day, especially if they have credit, they use credit. You borrow money. It's very scary. And when they capture that, especially with all the games that they give. So it's addicting. You see all that money on the table.
Yeah.
See all those chips.
Yeah.
And you say, this is my lotto. This is my chance. I'm going to make it.
Right.
And not many people do. You know, always you hear people say, I beat him for this, I beat him for that. Every time I go, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Vegas movie?
Rain Man for sure, with Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. A classic.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tom Cruise,
Classic.
Dustin Hoffman. That was at Caesar's Palace, by the way.
It was? Oh,
I think
okay.
so, yes.
Watch that.
Yeah.
A quick game of this or that with Howard Salstein. Okay, are you ready, Dad? Wayne Newton or the Rat Pack?
Oh, Rat Pack, for sure.
Siegfried or Roy?
Both. Now, if you said Frank Gorshin, the stars who were there, Lola Falana, you know, all those. Now, for me, it's Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
I went and saw Elton John, you know.
Bruno Mars or Liberace?
Oh, wow, because both gave extravagant shows. I saw Liberace when I was young, as a kid, at the International. I was at the old Hilton International Hotel where Elvis Presley played. And Liberace and Elvis were the two big headliners there.
Wow.
And Elvis was there mostly because Elvis couldn't go out of the country. He was a big gambler, so he signed those long-term contracts there. Yeah, he was a big gambler, owed money. The two stars there was Elvis Presley and Liberace at the International Hotel.
Blackjack or craps?
Well, if you can control yourself, there's nothing more exciting than craps.
Okay.
I myself can't control myself on the crap table. On the blackjack table, I can control myself. On the crap table, I go for the gusto because it's all about catching that freight train while it goes.
Red or black?
Red.
7 or 11?
Yo, 11.
Buffet or table service?
Table service.
Wind Flowers or Bellagio Fountain?
Fountain.
Spa or the sports book?
Spa.
Nosh of the day. This is a quick segment where we discuss favorite restaurants, recipes, or bad experience, but it's the Vegas edition.
My favorite place to go is in the casino at the Wynn Hotel, Red 8, one of the best Chinese restaurants. Love their pork shrimp shumai and their Chinese chicken and black.
That's at the Wynn downstairs, yeah. I agree.
Oh,
I agree.
I don't have a favorite because I think every time I go, I love the new place. I just went this past weekend for F1, went to Zuma at the Cosmo. Always good. Sushi's great. Cocktails are fabulous. Loved it.
Very bad security at the Cosmo. No, I'll tell you why. I stayed there. Good for young people, but if you're a player, their security is too lax. That's why I don't stay there.
No.
Dad, you're up. What's your nosh of the day? A Vegas restaurant that you love?
Wow. Well, the Red 8, they're all good.
Our last segment is Mitzvah of the Day, a moment where we take a break from the hustle and spotlight everyday acts of kindness. Today, our Mitzvah of the Day is going to be tipping the unsung heroes of Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a service industry, so shell it out to the valet, the bellboys, the busboys, the crap. Everybody, that ends this episode. Thank you for joining us on this special edition of Hustle and Schmear. Viva Las Schmegas.
Thank you, Howie.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at Hustle and Schmear. Liz, Dad, H-Man, please read us out.
Okay. The hustle is real.
And the schmear is extra.